Good afternoon. Now, my remarks said good morning. So we did have a good morning, I think. And we're having a great afternoon. I hope you're having a terrific Republican State Convention. Are you? I certainly am. This is my 17th consecutive state convention. Can you believe it? It feels a lot like my first convention in 1984. That was just yesterday, right? No, I guess it wasn't. Campaigns come and go, but our party remains. And we've come a long, long way since our founding in Strong, Maine in August 1854. Those who attended our convention in 2012 know that we've come a long way since our last presidential state convention 4 years ago. And we've come a long way since just 2 years ago. When I stood before you to give the State of the Party address in 2014, the pundits had us on the ropes. Things did not look promising. We were fighting for the re-election of Governor LePage. Our Republican legislators controlled neither the House nor the Senate. We had neither congressional seat. We were suffering from significant divisions within our party. Well, when aren't we? We are a free-thinking group of active citizens concerned about our country's future. But we reminded ourselves at that 2014 convention that there is much more that unites us than divides us. Our theme then was united for freedom, united for jobs, united for Maine. And we left that convention energized about working together. We built a campaign like never done by our state party before. We set up Freedom 14 offices across Maine, manned by hundreds of volunteers. We leveraged new technology to develop a treasure trove of data that continues to grow and pay dividends. Most importantly, we connected with Maine voters on the telephone, through social media, on their front porches, and had real conversations on the issues they care about. We made a compelling case, and we turned out the vote. Maine people responded by giving us, Republicans, the chance to govern. Governor LePage was reelected with 294,533 votes, more votes than any governor in Maine history. Senator Susan Collins defeated her opponent, whatever her name was, by nearly 40 percentage points. And Congressman Bruce Poliquin won back the 2nd District for the first time in 20 years. We won a commanding majority in the Maine Senate, and we elected 43 brand new members of the Maine House while re-electing 25. And last fall, we won 2 Democrat seats in special elections, bringing us to within 6 seats of a majority in the Maine House. And at the same time, Republicans have been winning quiet campaigns, maybe not so quiet, for local and municipal office, including one not so quiet race in Democrat-dominated Lewiston, where Mayor Bob McDonald was outspent 15-1 in one last desperate act by the Maine People's Alliance to cling to power. Lewiston voters, Lewiston Democrats, just like people all across our state, shouted a responding no to the Maine Democrat establishment. So today, the Maine Republican Party is our state's premier political organization. The Gallup organization has officially moved Maine from blue to purple lean red. The people of Maine are with us. They want us to govern successfully. They yearn for common sense, fiscally conservative leadership focused on the real issues that confront us. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit that the state of our party is strong. Now, this year we have embraced the theme of freedom, family, prosperity. I ask you, what do these values mean to you? Freedom. We must once again embrace freedom as the core value of our nation. I'm worried that our kids and grandkids will not have the same blessings of freedom that we have enjoyed in my generation. Their freedom is endangered. Their futures have been shackled by the reckless irresponsibility of big government. Now, recently and on Thursday evening, we recognized first-term Senator Eric Brakey for outstanding legislative achievement in the defense of freedom. Republicans in office fight the fight every day for freedom. I'd like to ask, if you are a Republican who has served in office, any office, local, county, state, federal, I want to ask you to stand right now. I want you to stand and be recognized as defenders of freedom. And I want you to stay standing. And now I want to ask those of you who have volunteered for a candidate, a Republican candidate, to please rise. People who have worked for these elections of Republican candidates, please rise. And if you have voted for a Republican defender of freedom in this state, please rise. Looks like a pretty full house. What a great group of activists. Thank you. Now, family. I'm so happy that I was able to share this convention with my family. Family, as we all know, is the foundation on which all else in society is built. Both our children, Abby and Nate, are now of voting age, and they're both here. It will soon be their generation's country to lead. We're blessed by having so many young people expanding our Republican ranks today. And I want to ask all of those attendees here who are under the age of 30, would you please stand? Stay standing. Remain standing, because now I want to ask anybody here who has ever been under the age of 30, could you please stand? Please stand. What a glorious group of young people. Thank you. Our legacy to our children and our grandchildren is a family matter. For the past 8 years, Barack Obama has passed $7,000 billion of IOUs onto our children. America now has a $19 trillion national debt. Over the past decade, Democrats have turned a blind eye to mounting obligations in federal employee retirements of $4 trillion, in Social Security of $17 trillion, and in Medicare of $85 trillion. Is this how to treat our children already buried by crushing student debt and an uncertain future? I didn't think so. Finally, prosperity. There is no question that under Governor LePage's leadership, Maine is turning the corner from poverty to prosperity. He and Republicans in the legislature have started with a commitment to fiscal discipline. They paid our state's bills, like our massive hospital debt. They've begun to cut our oppressive income tax rates. They've dedicated money to the rainy day fund, demanded effectiveness in spending on health, welfare, and education, and they've rooted out corruption. Their leadership Their leadership continues on driving down energy costs and fixing a broken welfare system to encourage job training and work requirements. Because of their leadership, over the past 6 years, Maine's unemployment rate has dropped from over 8% to just 3.6% and remains a percent lower than the national average. Now, prosperity is about entrepreneurship. It's about innovation and commitment to reform. It's about finding solutions and solving problems. These are the hallmarks of Republican leadership. Today, and at our awards ceremony on Thursday evening, we were thrilled to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to Linda Bean, a woman who embodies all these characteristics through her business leadership, her philanthropy, and her political volunteerism. Today, let's recognize all the remarkable entrepreneurs who continue to make Maine prosperous, providing countless jobs in a tough economy. I want to ask all those people who own a business, big or small, in Maine, please stand. Now I want to ask all people who own stock in a business, own a piece of the American economy, to please stand. And I want to ask all those who shop in a business in America to please stand. No wonder our economy is so strong. Thank you very much. This year, it is important that we honor freedom, family, and prosperity. We need to honor these values because we are under attack as Americans, as Mainers, and as Republicans. You know, there's a guy named Senator Bernie Sanders. Well, this guy, I'm not sure where he is or where he's from, but he said recently, quote, "The Republican Party today now is a joke, maintained by a media which really does not force them to discuss their issues. I just don't say this rhetorically. This is a fringe party. It is a fringe party. Maybe they get 5–10% of the vote," end quote. Really, Senator? Is this why Maine voters and citizens across our nation have turned to Republicans in historic proportion to govern? I am proud that my party, the Republican Party, is engaging with Maine people and the American people on the great issues before us. Republicans are talking about the tough realities that working people are facing every day and are talking about at their kitchen tables every night. Unlike Senator Sanders and Secretary Clinton, Republicans are proposing real budgetary solutions to the massive amounts of debt we are loading onto the next generation. Speaker Paul Ryan may have said it best recently. He said, and I quote, "We can't just be an opposition party. We have to be a proposition party. If we do not like the direction the country is going in, and we do not, then we have an obligation to offer an alternative." This is good counsel. This is good counsel for each of us in the conduct of our civic discourse, inside our party and out. I encourage that next time we have a qualm, an argument with a fellow Republican or an ornery Democrat, we should pause. Let's just think, how can I make this better? I don't like what that other guy's saying, but how can we reach the end goal together? That is how leaders think. That is how we need to think as Republicans if we want our party to remain the choice for governing by Mainers and Americans. Because I tell you what, we know Senator Sanders is dead wrong on our party's relevance and on a lot of other things. Our party isn't fringe. We are mainstream America. Commitment to freedom is no joke. And I believe that each and every one of us in this room is a leader. You wouldn't have taken your precious time on a beautiful spring weekend to come spend hours in a windowless room if you weren't. As leaders, as Republicans, I believe we have a responsibility right now, at this critical moment in history, to stand up for our children, to stand up for our state, and to stand up for our great nation. We need to lead, not just as Republicans, but as Mainers, deeply concerned about our future as we move into this campaign season and the critical elections to follow. I believe in family, I believe in freedom, and I believe that these will lead us to prosperity. And I believe that, like a family, we need to have each other's backs. Let us also shoulder this responsibility and move into 2016 united as a family, together fighting for freedom, fighting for prosperity, fighting for our Maine and for our America. Thank you, and God bless you all.